Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia, I guess, would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it. But I'm not sure that Zelensky's fine with it. His people love it, but he hasn't read it. So someday you'll explain that one to me, Jeff.
I don't have an explanation, sir. What's the next step in that process?
Thank you very much. Good job you're doing.
Вчора ми говорили зі Стівеном Віткофом та Джаредом Кушнером. Я дякую за готовність працювати разом 24/7. Американські представники знають базові українські позиції. Це була розмова конструктивна, хоч і непроста. Продовжуємо працювати. Деякі речі можна обговорити тільки особисто. Уміров, Гнатов доповідатимуть мені. Також я буду говорити з лідерами Європи. У нас заплановані зустрічі в Лондоні, а також в Брюсселі.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much.
And I think with the last 10 meters of trying to end this conflict, where it's at, I think we're really down to a couple of issues, and the issues that are one are on terrain, which is primarily Donetsk, which is the second Oblast. You have Luhansk, Donetsk, you call Kherson, Zaporizhia and Kherson, and the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which is currently in cold storage right now. But that is a huge nuclear power plant. If we get those two issues settled, I think the rest of the things will work out fairly well. Because thank you for the panel. Happy Independence Day. You know, I'd like to remind everybody in the room, you know, the scale of that war is unprecedented when it comes to regional conflict. The Soviet Union left Afghanistan after losing 18,000. We left Vietnam after losing 58,000. Russia and Ukraine combined have lost over 2 million. Think about that. That is horrific numbers out there. And so we need to get the conflict to an end. President Trump has seen that. President Trump has gone out of his way to talk to people, which is great. He's talked to Putin, to Zelensky, and anybody else he needs to talk to. So I think we're almost there. I won't speak for the negotiators or how it's working right now, but it's a full team effort. And the Ukrainians have been very good about who they have sent to the negotiations with Umarov out there. And we'll just have to, wait and see how it goes. But we're really, really close.
In the middle, Antti Hakkinen, the Defense Minister of Finland. And then on the
private sector has a role to play when it comes to, say, the construction of Gaza.
I don't think Ukraine is going to be abandoned, but I think for years, again, it was the same thing as the last answer, which is, well, we want to attack Russia. We want to do this. Well, when it comes to actually writing a check ourselves, no, the U.S. is going to do it. The American public doesn't have an appetite for that. So there was no appetite for that, but that didn't stop a Republican Party from saying it's the number one issue. It's not, and we actually have to listen to the will of those people. So we want peace, we want to stop the death, but I even saw that yesterday where, on this very stage, what was the idea for Europe, who is on the border of Ukraine, who has much more at stake if this happens? Well, our plan is to win economically. When pressed on the issue, how are you going to do that? Well, we're just going to wait for Russia to go bankrupt. That's not a plan. That's not an idea. Because America has set a precedent for decades that they'll just write the check. But if the will of the people isn't there, everyone needs to step up. Everyone has to do their share. And that includes what's happening here in the Middle East. If we do that collectively, we can get to an answer. But if we default to the old ways of America's just going to be the big idiot with a checkbook, that's not going to work. The reality is that the way that China has conducted themselves, especially in Africa as it relates to rare earth.
But is your hunch that President Trump is going to walk away?
I think he may. What's good about my father and what's unique about my father is You don't know what he's going to do. The fact that he's not predictable, he's not following the playbook of every clown who's, again, been a bureaucrat for decades, you don't know. And so that forces everyone to actually deal in an intellectually honest capacity, which has not happened in far too long.
Ahmed, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Зараз один з найважчих моментів нашої історії. Зараз тиск на Україну один з найважчих. Зараз Україна може опинитися перед дуже складним вибором. Або втрата гідності, або ризик втрати ключового партнера. Або складні 28 пунктів, або вкрай важка зима. Найважча та подальші ризики.
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
pretending with
he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you
the
know.
suggestion that you made, though, was
Можем начинать. У нас этот текст есть. Мы получили его по имеющимся каналам взаимодействия с американской администрацией. Полагаю, что и он может быть положен в основу окончательного мирного урегулирования. Но предметно с нами этот текст не обсуждается. И могу предположить, почему. Причина, полагаю, та же самая. Администрации США не удается до сих пор заручиться согласием украинской стороны. Украина против.
All right, we had a very good day today. We arrived here today with one goal, and the goal was to take, is 28 points or 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items. And we have achieved that today in a very substantial way. Now, obviously, like any final agreement, they'll have to be agreed upon by the presidents, and there are a couple issues that we need to continue to work on.
Fabrice! Désolé, t'es dessus, mais...
Let's get back to work, and we'll be back to you pretty soon, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
working on 28.1.
Okay, yeah.
This is delicate, it's complicated, there are a lot of moving parts, and obviously there's another party involved here that'll have to be a part of the equation and that'll continue later this week when Mr. Witkoff travels to Moscow.
This meeting was productive and successful. On the later stages, hopefully, we will keep you updated.
Уважаемые товарищи, добрый день. Проведем.
Группировка войск «Север» сегодня завершила освобождение города Волчанск. Кроме того, в рамках создания полосы безопасности в приграничных районах Сумской и Харьковской областей Украины в ноябре под наш контроль на этой территории перешли еще 3 населенных пункта. Это Синельниково, Цегельное и Двуречанское.
И доложил о том, как идет боевая работа.
So pleased to see you.
Welcome to our press corner with President von der Leyen. Last night, we reached a provisional agreement on the Commission's proposal to fully phase out Russian fossil fuels. We're turning that page, and we're turning it for good. This is the dawn of a new era, the era of Europe's full energy independence from Russia.
What about Ukraine and what would take us towards a durable peace?
You know, we're close. We're closer than we've ever been to peace. And this is, you know, as President Trump has said, this is a tough situation to get to the right spot. And you know, ultimately, this war needs to end. It's been going on for almost 4 years with millions of casualties.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.